Hi, my name is Kai Zane. This is my project, Social Sphere. So here's the table of contents. Most of society has experienced or may even suffer from social anxiety, or have seen the struggles of those being looked at as different just because they have autism. I first thought of the idea of social sphere after constantly feeling like I was being forced to speak out. Many teachers and students told me to simply talk, but didn't feel like I was being truly supported, with being told just to express my feelings. As society requires that you communicate with the people around you to achieve your goals, I find that it's important that there is some way to communicate outside of on social media. I want to make this project work because I think that it can truly have an impact in all types of communication, whether you just want to make a new friend or ask for help on the project. The state of society as it is right now requires people to communicate in real life. It is important that those who have something to say must have the courage to say it. So, in a room with 1,000 high school kids, you can expect to find 90 people who suffer from social anxiety disorder, which affects approximately 9% of adolescents and can significantly impact their ability to participate in social and academic activities. Additionally, about 17 people are likely to be on the autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, representing about 1.7% of the population. ASD is characterized by challenges with social communication and repetitive behaviors, as often requires tailored educational approaches to support those affected. And here's a graph with the information stated in the slide above. So what exactly does social anxiety do? Social anxiety causes people to overthink situations, as simple as asking a classmate for help, especially do not know them if they do not know them well. The constant racing thoughts and fear of outlandish situations happening are completely unavoidable by a person with social anxiety. Social anxiety can also cause people to overthink what other people mean and the other person's body language completely misunderstand the message. Overall, it just makes it hard to walk up to somebody and talk to that person. For those who have never experienced any type of social phobia, having social anxiety makes you feel trapped in the imaginary consequences that are made up in your own mind. It is like living in a constant state of dread where every social interaction feels like it leads to potential disaster. Through these potential disasters, you feel that you're being judged, embarrassed, or rejected. And these thoughts can be so overwhelming that they can paralyze you from taking any action and simply avoiding conversation entirely. It is only possible to escape once you recognize that these imaginary consequences rarely ever happen, and even when they do, they are not as bad as once thought. In my own personal experience, just talking to more people allowed me to overcome some of my social anxiety. I found that with each conversation, the fear of socialization diminished a little bit, and I became more comfortable in social settings. However, I still have trouble starting conversations with people I am not comfortable with, and there are days where the anxiety feels much worse than other days. But I've learned to push through those feelings and take small steps forward. I made this game so that people could start with small step into a safe setting instead of a giant leap into unknown reactions. So what about autism? Autism contains a wide spectrum of behaviors and can do similar things to social anxiety disorder. Autism makes it hard for people to talk to each other, and it also makes it hard to understand what others are thinking or feeling. Those affected by autism can also get upset the second they find themselves in an awkward setting, like a party or a social event. Autism also makes it harder for them to respond in the fast pace of a normal conversation. People with autism can tend to repeat information or actions during socialization. Overall, living with autism can lead a child to stop speaking even if they could before. Communication challenges are of prevalence in autism spectrum disorder, and these can manifest in various ways, from complete silence to difficulties in maintaining typical conversational patterns. Those on the spectrum often face unnecessary consequences while talking, such as misunderstandings and negative reactions from others, which can lead to feelings of isolation. In a way, they are opposite of those with social anxiety. While individuals with social anxiety may avoid speaking due to fear of judgment, individuals with autism may struggle with the mechanisms of communication itself, which can cause others to react differently to them. Unfortunately, this can cause those with autism to being bullied or ostracized, further discouraging them from engaging in conversation. This social exclusion can lead to a reduction in their verbal interaction, making it harder for them to practice and improve their communication skills. As a result, they often have to work hard to find an imbalance between talking excessively and not talking enough to reach a level of communication that is more acceptable to their peers without autism. Many of the people watching this may be wondering, why can't we just use social media? This is because social media prevents you from walking up to somebody and actually starting a conversation with them. It is not as easy to talk to somebody in person as online, and I'm confident that some of you may feel the same sentiment. In other words, social media platforms like Gmail, Instagram, Facebook, and Discord can create a dependency on communicating from behind the screen, which can make it difficult for individuals, particularly those with social anxiety, to engage in face-to-face interactions. The convenience and safety of online communication can lead to avoidance of real-life social situations, reinforcing anxiety and preventing the development of crucial social skills. However, by emulating real-life experiences, such as walking up to somebody and interacting with them before starting a conversation, we can help those with social anxiety practice and improve their ability to initiate and engage in social interactions. This approach can be particularly beneficial in building confidence and reducing the fear associated with in-person communication. Ultimately, the goal is to help those with social anxiety develop the confidence and skills needed to interact comfortably in various social settings. By providing opportunities for practice and gradually increasing the level of social engagement, we can reduce the dependency on screen-based communication and promote real-life conversations. Building confidence is the way to overcome all fears. With the process of building confidence, it is possible to overcome the fear of socialization and be more comfortable with using it in real life. Confidence is truly the key to everything, even overcoming the challenges of seemingly impossible tasks for some people. The difference between thinking that something is impossible to achieve and believing that something is becoming more and more possible is immeasurable. One mindset leads to a positive outcome, while the other leads nowhere. When you believe that a task is impossible, you're likely to feel defeated before you even begin. This mindset can lead to inaction, preventing you from taking the first steps necessary to tackle the challenge. The fear of failure can be paralyzing, causing you to avoid opportunities for growth and learning. On the other hand, when you start to believe that a task is becoming more and more possible, you begin to approach the task with the willingness to try and set a belief in your ability to make progress. This positive attitude encourages you to take more and more steps, each one building your confidence and skill set. As you make small achievements, your belief in your ability to succeed strengthens, creating a cycle of motivation and accomplishment. Ultimately, the journey from thinking something is impossible to believing it is achievable is marked by a series of small victories. Each step forward, no matter how small, contributes to a growing sense of optimism. By nurturing confidence, you unlock the potential to overcome your once impossible challenge, even if it is just to talk. So why does social sphere work? It is especially difficult for a person with social anxiety disorder or autism spectrum disorder to start and hold a conversation. Our game encourages the player to interact with the NPCs around the map as they slowly build up more confidence to talk to more NPCs and therefore people in real life. So how does this reflect to real life? Our game makes talking to others less convenient than on text, just as in real life. As they gain confidence in their game, they can attribute it to real life and they can adapt to the less convenient method of talking in person. So here's the demo of my game. As you can see, there are NPCs that are generally using ChatGPT. You can interact with them, and they will also respond according to the personality generated to them by ChatGPT. So here's me doing a normal conversation to this NPC, and I learned how to. In this situation, I can both the NPC and can use normal conversational skills, such as starting and ending conversations. There are also students around the map. You can also talk to them in the same way. I'm going to skip a bit ahead like for a bit, I guess. You can also learn information from other NPCs. Like you can talk to the cafeteria, the lunch ladies. You can talk to a lot of other NPCs. They will mostly they will know all the information that is given to them through the GPT generated script. So if you had a controlled setting where no one wants to talk to each other, the goal is that our player becomes the initiator of conversations. By giving the hardest situation for conversation to happen between introverts in the safest setting available, we can prepare our players for the real world where this situation happens often. These NPCs have their information generated by ChatGPT, which creates a JSON format that is added to the game information. We use ChatGPT to simulate the talking points of a real conversation. The AI has enough knowledge of communication to know when to ask for clarification or elaborate on information. Here's the code we used to use ChatGPT. Anago. Through this project, I hope I can use it to teach myself how to socialize as well as many others. The problems that social anxiety and autism present are challenging and hard to fix, as those with social anxiety are typically too scared to ask for help, and those with autism often face hate from strangers. In an ideal society, there would be no differences in the way that people act and talk, but we do not live in this society. We cannot change the way that others think about some things, but is it possible for us to adapt and overcome to the challenges that come our way, even if the challenge is just to speak?